when it was your due and didn't cause them any trouble. But the people, the normal people, they were far worse. With no rule and no law, it became every man, woman, and child for themselves. There were no repercussions for crime or violence. No one to run to if you were beaten or robbed. No police, no prisons, not legitimate ones anyway. Neighbors stole from neighbors. Stores were looted and supplies were hoarded, leaving children to starve in the gutters. It became the strong against the weak. And as it turns out, the strong were usually jerks. Humanity loses faith in times like that. With no one to look up to, no one to believe in. We all became rats scrounging in the sewers. Maybe Ace really was a villain. Or maybe he was a visionary. Maybe there's not much of a difference. Either way, the gangs ruled Gatlin City for 20 years, while crime and vice spread like sewage around a backed-up pipe. And the age of anarchy might have gone on for another 20 years, 50 years, an eternity. But then, seemingly overnight, hope. Bright and sparkling hope, dressed up in capes and masks, beautiful and joyous hope, promising to solve all your problems, rain justice down upon your foes, and probably give a stern talking to a few jaywalkers along the way. Warm and promising hope, encouraging the normal folks to stay inside where it was safe while they fixed everything. Don't worry about helping yourselves. You've got enough on your plate. What with all the hiding and moping you've been doing lately? You take a day off. We're superheroes. We've got this. Hope called themselves the Renegades. Prologue. Nova had been collecting syringes from the alleyway behind the apartment for weeks. She knew her parents would take them away if they found out, so she'd been hiding them in an old shoebox, along with an assortment of screws, zip ties, copper wires, cotton balls, and anything else she thought might come in handy for her inventions. At 6, going on 7 years old, she'd already become aware of how important it was to be resourceful and thrifty. She couldn't exactly make a list and send her dad to the store for supplies, after all. The syringes would come in handy. She'd known it from the start. She attached a thin plastic tube to the end of one and stuck the opposite end of the tube into a glass of water she'd filled up in the bathroom sink. She pulled up the plunger, drawing water into the tube. Tongue sticking out through the gap where she'd recently lost her first tooth, she grabbed a second syringe and affixed it to the opposite end of the tube. Then dug through her toolbox for a strip of wire long enough to secure it to the pulley system she'd built at the top of her dollhouse. It had taken all day, but finally she was ready to test it. She tucked some of the dollhouse furniture onto the elevator's platform, picked up the syringe, and pressed in the plunger. Water moved through the tube, extending the second plunger upward and setting the complicated series of pulleys into action. The elevator rose. Nova sat back with a grin. Hydraulic-powered elevator success! A cry from the next room intruded on the moment, followed by her mother's cooing voice. Nova looked up at her closed bedroom door. Evie was sick again. It seemed she was always running a fever these days, and they'd run out of medicine for her days ago. Uncle Alec was supposed to be bringing more, but it might be hours still. When Nova had overheard her father asking Uncle Alec if he might be able to find a children's ibuprofen for the baby's fever, she'd considered asking for more of the fruit-flavored